Oh, it's recording. Okay, so this is just an experiment. Now I've got to turn on the teleprompter. I'm probably going to have to do this multiple times. Okay, well, um, first of all, I'll introduce myself. I go by the name Dalton Lynne in the world of books, writing, narration, audiobook narration. And so this setup is not the best. I'm in my little tiny booth, my cupboard under the stairs, and I feel like Harry Potter every time I record. But uh, I'm not using this microphone. I'm using the webcam mic. I don't think it's going to be the greatest, but it was just the easiest to set up with. And when I used this mic, it sounded funny. Anyway, it didn't sound like I was supposed to sound. So, what I'm doing, what I'm thinking about doing, and I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, is starting up a series of video book reviews because I've read so many books over the years, and in fact, the past 10 plus years, it's been mostly audiobooks. That's what got me into narrating them. And so I built up this library of reviews on Goodreads, and I thought maybe it would be kind of interesting and fun to share them with you. So that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I'll probably have to be doing a lot of edits and cuts. So anyway, the book review for today is going to center on 11/22/63 by Stephen King. Now, I initially listened to this book several years ago. I think it was 2012, but it was a book that never really left me. So what I'm going to do, sorry for any clicks, it centers on the character of Jake Epping, who is a high school English teacher in Maine. And so one day he's grading essays by his GED students, and he reads a horrific piece written by a janitor at the school who tells about the murder of his entire family by his father when he was a child. And around that time, Jake discovers a secret kept by his friend Al, who owns a local diner. And Al enlists Jake to take part in a mission that Al has been obsessed with for years. And that mission is to stop the Kennedy assassination from ever happening. And the reason is because Al believes that the world, or just the country as a whole, would be a much better place if Kennedy had lived. But how is Jake supposed to go and stop something that happened decades before? How is this possible? Well, this is a Stephen King book, so you have to suspend reality. But anyway, there is somehow a portal in Al's diner. It's in the storeroom, and it can take a person back to a specific date in time. And it's a date that would give someone time to formulate a plan for how to stop the assassination, but time enough as well that basically when you go back, you're going to start a whole new life. And that's where the story takes us. It takes us on Jake's journey through the past, his new life, and the people he meets, and the people that change his life forever. But in accordance with Jake's mission, Al's mission that Jake's carrying out, his new life leads him to the troubled loner that is Lee Harvey Oswald, and the course of history is about to be rewritten. So that's the synopsis of the book. So I'm going to preface this review by pointing out that what I did was I actually listened to the audiobook, like I said, and it was narrated by Craig Wasson, who did an absolutely wonderful job of bringing Jake and all the other characters to life in my mind. So with that disclaimer, my rating system includes a score for the audiobook, basically just the book, which of course includes the story, because it's that. So the breakdown is, for the story itself, 5 out of 5 stars. For the performance of the narrator, 5 out of 5 stars. And overall, 5 out of 5 stars, obviously. The audiobook was very long. It was about, I think, 30 hours. But I loved every moment of it. I didn't want it to end. It didn't feel, for me personally, it did not feel that there were any moments that were dragging on and just took forever. So, obviously, as you can tell by my rating system, you know where I'm going. I have really pretty much nothing but great things to say. I felt like the book was absolutely amazing. And I had initially rated it on Goodreads, where the reviewers, you're limited by a 5-star rating system, but I wish I could have given it 10 stars. It was that good. So I had, like I said, I initially wrote the review, listened to the book about going on 5 years now, more than 4. And even then, I knew that it was going to be one of those rare stories that would haunt me and stay with me pretty much forever. There's a few books that do that for me. And my favorite King novel up until this point was Salem's Lot. But when I got to this one, I really felt like it was just nothing short of brilliant, and it pulled me right in from the beginning, and it never let me go. And when you get to the end of a story and you don't want it to end, you know the author has done a wonderful job. And that was my experience. Now, it's not action packed, it's not this crazy thrill ride at every turn, but for me, like I said, there was really never a dull moment. And that, in my opinion, takes a supreme talent on the part of an author. King did a masterful job of really getting you to connect with the characters. Now, I think that the narrator himself also played a part in that as well, because narrators, they can really make or break a book. Um, a, a poor narrator can ruin a great book, and a great narrator can really help bolster a book that isn't that great. But the story was all done so well that by the end of this epic, and yes, it did feel like it felt that significant to me. It's like the characters are, they've become a part of you and you care about them. Your heart breaks for them, specifically the protagonist, Jake. And at the end of the book, literally, I was literally weeping during the final scenes of the book. And that's not something that happens often, because personally, I hate to cry. It does all sorts of things to my sinuses, and it makes me look like I got punched in the face. Everything swells up, and it's not pretty, and it makes me feel horrible just in itself to cry. So I try to avoid things like books or movies or whatever that I know are going to make me weepy. And it does take a lot for an author's mere words to drive me to tears. But this story, especially at the end, it was so touching, so bittersweet, so captivating that there was really no other outlet for me to express such emotion. I couldn't contain it except tears, and they came. And in my opinion, it's pretty rare that an author can capture so much with just mere words. And in my experience, there's been only one other novelist who has been able to carry that off, and that's been Robert McCammon. But King himself managed to do it here, and he did it very well. And I am in awe of his art here. So, my final words to that are, well done, Mr. King. Well done.